Like I said earlier today, I'm gonna announce that I'm gonna continue to enter the NBA draft. I feel like it's one of the best decisions for me right now as my basketball career takes off in a positive way. I want to thank the fans, of course. They made me who I've become today. Whether I was encouraging, playing bad games, good games. And second, I want to thank the coaches. They pushed me every day to become great. They seen the potential in me, gave me an opportunity, and that's all it took. So that's why I decided to stay in the draft.
So you're gonna hire an agent, or have you already?
Eventually, yes, I will.
When it came time to, I guess when you were getting close to pulling the trigger, what were the factors that went through your mind that said this is the right decision for you?
Oh well, I kind of got a lot of positive feedback from the guys I needed to. So that's really kind of one of the factors that played into it. Sat down with my family, Coach Mac, first, and just really thought about it. And it's something I really wanted to do, chase my dream. So I just went with it.
So just to be clear, this means you're not coming back. The window or the door is shut to come back to Creighton.
Yes, eventually I want to get my diploma. So hopefully that door doesn't shut if I get my diploma. But yes, about one more year. One more year. It's a good semester.
Is there a sense of relief that maybe that this part of the decision has been made and now you can throw all your energy, that there's no question mark, no cloud hanging over your head that maybe you come back, maybe not. Now you're full board to go to be an NBA?
Yeah, it's a big sign of relief. I know a lot of people are going to support me. I know the fans probably want me to come back, but it's a huge relief. I'm glad I made the right decision. It took as much time as I needed. Speaking with my coach, Coach Mac. And he really, gave me the ins and outs of everything, and just take my time. And I took my time, and that's all I needed.
Was there a guy or a moment that pushed you over the top, like, hey, come on, let's just do this?
No, I felt like if that was the case, it would have been, I would have done it way earlier. But like I said, I just, took my time with it. I didn't want to, rush it, and I didn't want to wait too long. But I think right now is the right time for me. So, yeah.
Is it easier to have this behind you now, as you get ready to go to the combine, because now you can kind of just, find that edge again and kind of compete for a spot in the draft, as opposed to, still not being certain about whether you're staying.
I feel like it does. Now I'm all just combine mode, just focus, not looking back, like you said, being a little hesitant, just really improving myself and improving myself in general. So huge relief.
Can you talk about just the preparations that have gone into preparing for this week?
Just doing the same, being yourself, doing the same thing I've been doing all year round, working out, preparing for it the correct way, getting feedback from other NBA guys, and just telling me what to expect and what not to do and what to do when I go in there, and just be myself, really.
Yeah, have you been running through those combine type drills here?
Yeah, I've been doing all of that. I've been doing it all, just preparing myself to get in the best, shape possible.
You had any workouts with NBA teams at all?
No.
Okay.
What were some of the, I guess, pros and cons that, in terms of the feedback you got from NBA teams, the upper management people that said, here's what we like about you as maybe your potential for the next level, and here's maybe what we think you need to work on?
They liked, obviously my defensive effort, my motor, being energized guys, and really just, getting after it on the court. I would say a con was probably just being, more aggressive, becoming a point guard a little bit, and that was really about it. But they just love my motor, my defensive effort, and just me, I guess, as an all-around guy.
Is there a piece of advice maybe that hit home, or I'm sure you talked to a bunch of guys who went through it, a bunch of guys in the league. What was the best piece of advice you got?
The best piece of advice I got was probably from Doug. I'm not saying that because it was Mac right there. It's probably from Doug. He was just like, go in there and be yourself when you do interviews. He said a lot of guys try to go in there like Mr. Perfect and, try to answer every question, with the answer they want to hear. But he said the NBA guys that's interviewing you, they're going to see right through it. And he was just like, go in there and be yourself and just, have fun, enjoy it, and embrace it.
Yeah, it's just last month or so been, how would you describe it? Has it been a little bit of a stress on you, a strain on you, or have you been able to relax and embrace it?
I would say relax a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's more relaxing just to have a coach behind you, a supportive coach. Coach Mack, I mean, I called him, you know, every other day, just like, yo, what's up? He just called me, make sure, like, I wasn't, you know, stressing about it, going over things. He took me to dinner, too, this past month. So he's been, you know, kind of there for me. Like he's been here all since my freshman year, before that, since I've been in high school. He's been doing, you know, a good job of just keeping me, like, you know, level-headed at the same time as well. But I talked to Anthony, you know, Tolliver and Doug about, like, what to expect, what not to expect. So those guys made it a lot, you know, calmer for me. Of course, I thought it would be stressful, but, you know, I guess my expectation was up here, but it wasn't as stressful as I thought it was going to be.
Gotcha. You've been asked this a lot throughout your career, but how did you flip a switch from being, you know, the kid in Omaha who didn't know if he was even good enough to play at Creighton, needing to be convinced of that, to now, you know, 4 years later, being able to make a decision for yourself that you're not only good enough to play at Creighton, but
that switch probably flipped on when the end of my freshman year here. I wasn't playing with too much confidence. Coach Mack was like, that's what it's going to take, you know, to get to the next level. Like, you got to block everybody out, everything else out, and just go. Just play like you know how, like you did in high school. So I was just like, all right, just, you know, have that same motor again. And he said my expectations was a little high for me, but I always set myself up that high. So he would just, you know, stay confident, really, and just keep doing what you do. Like, he kept telling me that I was better than what I was, better than what I was playing. So I was just like, all right, just relax. Like, you're here for a reason, prove it, and that's all I had to do. And then this past year, he threw me in a leadership role. And from there, I guess I just excelled with my confidence. I can't be a leader and not have confidence. How the other guys gonna look at me? So it was just confidence from all the coaching staff. And that's that switch right there.
Just a timeline question. When did you tell Coach Mack that you're ready to make that decision?
I'm not sure. I don't know, like, exact day, but I don't know. I don't even know if he remembers. I don't know.
I guess so. I remember when we were talking as a freshman and you had kind of like individual goals set for yourself. You know, Big East Player of the Year, Big East titles, all this stuff like that. Do you remember how much of a goal this being in the NBA was at that time? Do you remember if you could even see it at that point?
I don't even think I seen it at that point. I was just trying to win for Creighton. And, you know, just, you know, trying to be that all-around team guy. I don't even think I said that in an interview about going to the NBA. Yeah, I probably said it, like, jokingly, but to take it serious now, I didn't really think so.
How's your family reacting to the news? I imagine they're not hearing it for the first time right now, right?
Oh, they were kind of excited. I just really told my mom, and once I told my mom, she told everybody. I told her not to tell nobody, but she was just like, I think he's gonna go. She just, once she said I think she's gonna go to one person, and everybody was just like, he's gonna go. I'm like, I told you not to tell anybody, but she's excited. My family's, you know, kind of excited. I told them don't get their hopes up yet. You know, wait till, you know, draft night, and then everybody can go crazy. So.
Does it seem weird, surreal? Like, it's starting to get more real, right? I mean, it's kind of, it's been a dream so far, but now you get to actually live it out. It's got to be a weird feeling.
I'm going to embrace it. I'm excited. I don't get, you know, too amped up like I should or like other people would, but I'll be excited. I might not show it, but I'll be excited.
Do you ever, like, read, as far as, you know, on the internet or things like that, you see that you're projected to go, you know, in the first round, look at your strengths and weaknesses? Do you ever look at that and say, you know, these are the things that I can prove them wrong?
No, I try not to. A lot of people send it to me. Read this. Hey, look, check you out. And I'm like, nah. It's because it's a lot of different sources, so I just try to avoid it.
What are you planning on doing at the Combine? Are you going to do 5-on-5?
I think as of right now, I'm doing everything.
Okay.
Pretty much probably doing everything as of right now.
So, you know, you haven't picked an agent out yet, right?
Yeah, I think I have one in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't sign yet.
Not yet. No, sir.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Khyri. He's earned this opportunity. You know, he's been an absolute pleasure to coach. You know, he's unselfish. He's a team first guy. His work ethic's been incredible. His positive attitude. And you talk about guys you coach that are zero maintenance. He's a guy that's zero maintenance. You know, he brought a lot to not just game night, but practice every day with his intensity and his, you know, that smile on his face that he brings every single day. So, you know, we're going to miss that, but, you know, this is what our job's about, is try to help young guys move forward with their lives. And obviously everybody that plays for us, their goal and their aspirations are to play in the NBA. So, you know, he's right at the doorstep of that, so I support his decision fully.
I was just going to ask it. you never get any guarantees, but do you have an idea? Did you guys get an idea of where he would fall? Or?
The feedback was really positive, and had it not been positive, I don't think he'd be in this situation. So, you know, I talked to a lot of teams, and really the feedback was, you know, across the board very, very positive.
Can you remember back when you were recruiting him? Because, you know, you see the way he reacts to that, but when you're telling him he's good enough to play here, did you think that the ceiling was that he was also good enough to play at the next level? Did you see that in him?
I mean, you saw signs of, you know, some of his anticipation skills and obviously the length. Did I ever think in 3 years we'd be at this point? You know, probably not. And I probably didn't think that with Justin at the same point, nor did I think it with Doug when he was that age. So, you know, guys develop at different speeds and different rates. But, you know, Khyri's had an incredible work ethic, and he just checks something off the box. Checked another box every year in terms of trying to eliminate a weakness and make it a strength. And, you know, from his ability to handle the basketball to, you know, where his three-point shooting is now. His free throw shooting as a freshman was atrocious, and it was, you know, 80% this year. So he's made a lot of strides, and took pride in the defensive end of the floor. And I think the decision makers in the NBA appreciate what he does and what he can bring to your team, because he can make shots. And he can defend several positions at that level.
Was it important for him to make this decision before the combine? I mean, does that give him? I don't know enough about the industry to
I think it was important. You know, my message to him is he needed to make the decision when he was ready to make the decision, when he felt he had enough information, and, you know, felt comfortable. I didn't want him to make a quick decision one way or another. And, you know, as he said, we met virtually every day or every other day there for 2 or 3 weeks as I was getting more information from the teams that I talked to. So and we went through the process of interviewing some agents, and he and his family were great in that regard. So, you know, again, those were just other ways to get more information so that he could make an educated decision, which I think he has.
How did he tell you?
You know, we talk all the time, and yeah, I think so. I you know, the feedback was positive. So really, that's what we were after. We were going to get one thing or another probably, and the people I talked to in the NBA were, you know, very positive about what they had to say about him.
Matt, rules-wise, can he talk directly to teams or no? Like,
no.
Okay, so he's got a kind of second hand almost to get info can get funneled to you. That I know the advisory board gives him direct feedback there too.
Yeah, I'm the only one that can talk to NBA teams on his behalf. Now, if he had an advisor that was going to set up workouts, had he not chosen to stay in the draft and hire an agent, that person could talk to the NBA in terms of setting up workouts. That's it, but not in getting information. So the head coach is really the only one that can do that. So, you know,
but that works okay. I mean, just in terms,
You know, it's obviously it's a time commitment on my part. You know, trying to figure out when those guys are available. Some of them are still playing, and you want to try to talk to the people that are going to be involved in the decision, not people who are going to make recommendations to the person who's making the decision. So we were able to connect with most teams in the NBA, and like I said, get some really, really positive feedback.
You mentioned a little bit. What is it about? This is part of your job, is to get guys who want to chase their dream prepared and ready. What does it say about the program as a whole now that you've had a handful of guys in the last 5 years go through this process and take that leap?
Well, I think we're moving the right direction. I think it's amazing that the last 2 are local guys that, you know, really weren't recruited very heavily. But, you know, guys have come in here and they work, and certainly the facilities that we have allow them to continue to grow as a player and get better as a player. But, you know, the reality of it is if you're going to compete in the upper half of the Big East, you better have some guys that are close to being able to play in the NBA. You're going to have a hard time, you know, being successful in our league. So, you know, Khyri has had a great career, and while I'm going to miss coaching him, I really look forward to what the next chapter brings for him.
In terms of what Andy mentioned with recruiting, you got 3 guys on the wall. You're about to have 2 more when Khyri gets picked. In terms of recruiting, those are 5 guys that have not had a lot of college offers but have made their way to the NBA regardless. Has that altered your mindset in terms of recruiting throughout the years at all, and how you can develop people to get to the next level regardless?
I think you know, development is an important piece as young people and their families make decisions where to go to school, and obviously ours speaks for itself. Now, having said that, it is difficult when they leave early to try to figure out a way to replace him. There's not a lot of recruits left on the board at this late a date, but the rule's in place to benefit the student athlete, as it should be. He had till May 30th to make his decision, and had he taken till May 30th, I'd have been fine with that, because this has to be about him, not about us. Our program's going to go on many years after I'm gone, and certainly many years after he's done playing. So Khyri had to do what was best for Khyri, and I think I was proud of the way he navigated through the process and asked all the right questions.
So you guys, grad transfer market, transfer market,
Yeah,
maybe 2018 recruits. What can you do with these open scholarships?
Both.
Here?
I'd like to fill one or two. I doubt we'll fill all three of them. But I like the group we have coming back. I think our freshman class last year was really, really good. Mitch and Tyshawn and Jacob all did some good things. You had Damian Jefferson to that class after sitting out this year. And then the three freshmen we have coming in, I think, will have a chance to be really good and help us hopefully right away. And it's going to put a lot of, a lot on the shoulders of Caleb and Martine in particular, and Davion. They're our upperclassmen now, and they're really going to have to do a good job of leading this program and leading this young group.
Yeah, you mentioned just when guys leave early, and it's interesting with Justin and Khyri, two guys that maybe when you recruited them, you thought, hey, maybe they have a potential to be at the NBA level, but maybe you thought you get him, Justin for 3 years, Khyri for 4 years. How much of a hit does that take just in terms of your roster development, roster management, I guess, in terms of running the program?
It can be a little tricky because it's hard to recruit guys when you have a guy like Justin or Khyri in your program, because if they're at that position, why would I go there? I'm not playing ahead of him, so it makes it difficult to recruit that position, and now you get late in the season, and we're not Kentucky where we can just go grab another one and done. So it makes it difficult, but not impossible, and my staff has been preparing for the possibility of this happening, working the transfer market and the grad transfer market. But obviously that's a very competitive market right now, and so far we've struck out on a couple that we were chasing.
I guess Marcus, it's not a different situation, but do you know what his schedule is like in terms of NBA workouts and things like that?
He was here yesterday for graduation. I talked to him, and he's had 2 or 3 workouts already. Had a really good workout, I believe, with Minnesota, and then has several more scheduled in the coming weeks. So, I think I certainly think he's helping himself with some of the workouts, and we'll just see where that lands as he gets closer to the draft.
How is Martine doing health-wise?
Good. He sent me a picture of him sitting next to a lake with his legs stretched out last night.
That's good.
But he said he's working his rehab every day and spending some needed time with his family. But once he comes back in June, he'll be back here straight through. He will not go back home in August, so he can continue to rehab that and get it ready for the start of the season.
Yeah, he's the only guy really recovering from something serious, right?
Yeah, he's the only one that won't be ready to go when they get back here in June. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.